Google Ads is such an important part of the digital marketing mix, and for small business clients, it's often a really difficult one for people to learn and feel confident in being able to manage themselves. Recently, I held a Google Ads workshop to show small business clients how they can set up their own Google Ads and run those successfully. This is the recording from that workshop and how you can best use it for your business. The second part, I go through step-by-step in setting up a Google Ads search campaign for a small business. I wanted to thank the attendees who came along to the event. It was fantastic to have you guys there, and I hope that you learned a lot. And if you or anyone watching is looking for help with Google Ads, please do book in a free call with me. You can do that on socialgeeks.com.au to go through and talk about how you can succeed with Google Ads. With all that said, I hope you enjoy this workshop presentation, and as always, all the best with your marketing. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming along to today's workshop. I'm really excited to go through Google Ads. I think Google's awesome. You'll learn this about me. I get really excited about tech and really excited about things. I think we're going to learn a lot. And by the end of today, I'm hoping that we're going to have fully set up campaigns for each of your businesses, which will be really good. So we'll go through like Google Ads. I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot in Google Ads. It's not just Google search. There's display, there's YouTube, there's shopping. There's about way too many channels to get lost in, let's say. So I'm going to try to cover those off. And then we're going to talk about how to structure an account, because there's many different businesses. There's no one way to do it. There's many different ways to do it, and it's based on how your business works. So some businesses have multiple locations, some have multiple products, multiple services. So it's kind of just figuring out what's going to work best for you. We'll talk about that. The other thing is, with everything with digital marketing, you can track everything that happens when somebody clicks on an ad and goes through your website. So how long do they spend on your website? What pages did they go to? And most importantly, what conversions are you getting? Are you getting people inquiring? Are you getting people buying products? Are you generating leads? We want to know that it's working for your business so that you can calculate a cost per conversion. And that gives you an ROI in terms of, I'm spending $10 to get a lead, and my leads are worth $50 to the business or whatever. Okay, I'm making a good ROI. Otherwise, it feels like you're just throwing money at Google, and you need to measure these things. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about keyword research, which is just basically seeing what are people searching in relation to your website or to your service. You can see it by region. So you could do the Sunshine Coast, or you could do it by Australia if you wanted to. And it'll show you what are the average monthly searches for particular searches on Google, which is super helpful. And once we've done that, we'll go through and create a campaign, because first thing you want to do is understand what are people searching before you start throwing together campaigns, right? So these are the things that we're going to cover off. So that's the agenda for today. I reckon that by the end of it, we'll have fully set up campaigns. I'm going to hopefully show you how to do a Google search campaign. But the cool one that I think we're seeing really good results for small business is the Google's AI Performance Max campaigns. And that's like a catch-all Google campaign that just gets you everywhere. So for real estate, amazing. For sharpening, amazing. I think every business, it can work really well. And then at the end, I'm sure you'll have questions. So we'll have like maybe half an hour to go through stuff together, answer any questions that you have, and just make sure that like we're set. It is going to be a small group, so I'm hoping that it'll be really interactive. I'll be able to work around the room, especially in the second half when we're setting up campaigns. I'll try to go bit by bit around and just make sure that you guys are like, how do I log into Google? Okay, we'll go through that. We'll just make sure we know how to do that. I think it should be good. We do have a few more people joining, so I'm hoping that there'll be space, but we're going to kick off anyways. So before we dive too deep, I thought a good idea would be to just go around the room and introduce ourselves. I'd love to know names, your business, and one thing that you're hoping to learn from today. It could be just like, I'm here because I want to dominate Google and come up on page 1 of every Google search for my industry. That's cool. I'll kick things off. So my name's Kyle Meloche. I run Social Geeks Digital Agency. I think today I want to see what's the main thing that people are looking for from Google Ads. I'm really curious to see, because it surprises me how broad and varied the business world can be. So that's a bit about me. I'll pass to you, Lee. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for that. I'm sure there'll be some more people coming in, which I'll force them to do like a, hey, while you're here. No. But we'll kick on. I think that Google Ads is, everybody thinks of Google search when they think of Google. But Google Ads is incredibly powerful because it covers off so many different channels now. There's a lot of studies that Google does, surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, that shows that they can reach pretty much 90% of the internet. It doesn't matter if you're not using Google search, they can still get you. And that could be on YouTube. They've got a huge amount of people that use YouTube every month. Display ads, they have a partnership with about 2 million plus websites, I think about 1 million mobile apps that display Google ads on their apps. So I don't know if you've ever gone through like real estate or .com.au and they have blogs and there's these ads that pop up or videos that play halfway through. Those are generally Google ads. You got Google search, which is no explanation required. Discover, Gmail, and importantly for brick and mortar businesses, Google Maps. If you're not ranking number one, you can actually pay now to, if somebody searches cafe near me, you can pop up top of the search in Google Maps if you're paying for that. So a lot of people don't realize that Google Maps is bought and paid for as well, sadly, but it is a really important channel to get in front of. So Google is insane. There's so much that you can do and so many places that you can be. And the good news, guys, is that it's getting easier and easier for small businesses to run on Google Ads, especially with AI. So we're going to go through how to use it today. First, some stats though. So these might even be out of date because I did this a year ago, updated these stats, but Google has about 9 billion searches per day. That shows you that it's still very popular and still very much, even with ChatGPT, it's still probably the number one place people go to get questions answered. YouTube has 3 billion monthly active users. So if you haven't thought about running ads on YouTube, it's a great way to get in front of people. I know that YouTube just recently surpassed Netflix for the most popular streaming app on TV, which is pretty mind-blowing. And then, like I was saying before, display ads, you can get in front of people, not just on Google search, but when they're going through blogs, when they're on websites. I don't know if you guys play any of the free mobile games or anything, when they have heaps of ads pop up, you can get in front of people there. I think the beauty of display ads is it's very targeted. If you want to target people just in Calandra who have recently searched for sharpening services, you can while they're playing games. So there's really powerful ways to reach people with Google Ads. I think the targeting is like where it's the most powerful for these types of channels. So Google is scary good, and it is also there across the entire customer journey. So this crazy chart is a bit crazy, but for any of the marketers in the room, you might be familiar with this. Customer journey starts where you become aware of having a problem through to then purchasing, staying with the company, and then being an advocate for the company. Google can help with pretty much all of these things and is there across the entire journey. It's not just there for the awareness. They have Google Analytics, which is on most websites nowadays. It's a tracking tool that tells you how long people are staying there, where do they come from, how many pages did they visit, and most importantly, what conversions that they took on your website. So if they fill out a form, we would say that's quote unquote a conversion because that's an inquiry. If they click to call now, that would be a conversion. If they buy products, obviously a conversion. So we want to make sure that we can track these things. And Google is there from beginning to end, especially for like people who have a brick and mortar business. Even if you don't, let's say you have a home office and you're a bit iffy about having your business address online, you can still set up like Google business profiles. Just say, I service the area of Calandra or Australia wide, and you can still be seen on Google Maps and Google Search, and it helps with your visibility. So Google is everywhere. A lot of people think Facebook, Instagram, I need to be on there, but Google is the place to be. It's just, I think a lot of people don't realize how omnipresent Google can be, especially with YouTube and all of the other tools that they have access to. Gmail. Does anybody see ads pop up in Gmail? I'm really curious because I don't see them at all, but you see.
There's sponsored email.
Yeah.
Sponsored, and you click on it pops up. Usually a grid of products. Well, mine and great product.
Yeah. See, I've never really personally seen the ads pop up, but obviously we target that. So it's interesting to hear. It's a
promotion tab.
Oh. Yeah. So Google's they're constantly adding new places to reach people, which is, there's an argument about, do we want to see ads everywhere? But at the same time, great for businesses who want to reach potential customers on all the different ways that we can reach them. So Google's great for that. So for us business folk, Google search has huge benefits. The average person uses Google about 3 times per day. Unlike social media, we were talking about this before, when you're running Facebook ads, you're pushing onto people. You're saying, hey, you might be interested in this topic. You're the perfect fit in terms of demographics, location, whatever else. But I just want to tell you about this and you consider it. With Google, obviously people are searching and you're targeting those relevant keywords. So you're able to say, if people are searching for knife sharpening, chainsaw sharpening, you want to pop up as the first option for them to consider. And that's the power of Google. People are not just searching for services. We'll talk about like different types of searches in a little bit. Most of the time they're searching for answers to problems. If you can still be there and they can consider that, some people want to DIY, they might want to sell their own home. And then you have a blog. What are the benefits between working with a real estate agent versus trying to do it yourself? That's a great way for people to then consider working with Lee instead of trying to do it themselves. So that's how you can use Google for different types of searches. Everybody goes for the what we call transactional searches. How can I get the people who are ready to buy? That's 2% of the market. You probably want to broaden out and look at how can you target people who are looking for education, looking for answers to questions. And again, like they might not go with you, but if they can consider you and you have a well-written article that answers questions about like why would you want to work with a real estate agent versus selling your house yourself, you might be able to get people who be like, you know what, maybe I should just give Lee a call, have a chat and see what he can do. So that's how you can use Google in your marketing mix. So we try to talk about different types of searches because I think a lot of people just go, oh, somebody said they want to get their knife sharpened. You're like, yeah, there's a lot more searches out there that we want to target as well. So the traditional Google ads that I think we all think about, we've got Google search on the left-hand side. So this is digital marketing, ad pops up, and you can write the title, you can write the description, and you can add what we call site links, which are the contact us and digital services and blah, blah, blah. On the right-hand side, we all know this one as well. You have ads, which are your products. So I think most of us are in the service business, if not all of us, service industry. There are ways that you can actually have products show up for your service. If you have packages, if you have subscriptions, you can actually use Google Shopping, but I think it's more suited to products. So if you're e-commerce, you're selling protein powder, that's probably like the best use of Google Shopping. Google search is definitely more for service-based businesses who are trying to target people searching for information, local providers, etc. So these are the traditional places that we would think of when I say Google Ads. There are heaps of other places though as well, which we're going to go through today. Display ads are one of my favorite. You probably don't click on ads like this. I never click on ads like this, but you see them. And I think of these as like the billboards of the internet, except that rather than popping up a billboard in Caloundra and hoping that 10% of the people that see it are actually your ideal customer, with display ads on Google, you can go super granular, super niche into people that you want to target. When we're building things out later, I'm going to show you guys the power of Google advertising in terms of targeting people in the market for your services. You can basically say people who have recently searched these things. So it'd be like, recently searched for a real estate agent or recently searched for knife sharpening or massages, or it might be digital marketing or web design or any of these things. You can actually say, I want to find people who have recently searched these things. The reason that display ads are so good, have you guys ever gone to a website and then you're like looking at, I don't know, it might be pants or a dress and then that dress follows you around the internet? Those are display ads. And these are really powerful at retargeting and trying to get people are busy, they might go shopping and then they got to get back to work, they're on their break and they forget about you. These are really good at reminding them, getting them back and trying to get them to finish the transaction, or even actually if they visit your competitors, your ads can pop up. Or if they search something and they click on a competitor, again, your ads can pop up. Display ads are great because you get a huge amount of inventory, if that's the right word. You can get a lot of visibility and it costs very little to get all those impressions. Generally, cost per click, which is a big metric we look at for Google Ads. For Google search, like some industries are crazy. Real estate's a good example. Like the cost per click can be like $20 just for a click. It's not like a lead, it's not an inquiry. You could pay a fortune for somebody who's the best real estate agent near me. But if you are saying, I want to target people who've recently searched for real estate agents, and you start doing ads like this, you can get clicks for 20 cents. So it could be a huge price difference and you're getting 10 times, 100 times the traffic from display ads. So I love these and these are really good. The other one is YouTube ads, and YouTube is so good for every business, but so many people don't do it just because you have to create videos and videos are hard work. But you can use Google's now built-in AI tools to create videos for your business. And it's not actually that hard. Like you can do it, I can do it in 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes for your average Joe, but it is something that you can do nowadays and have what I would say is a fairly good video. Everything's all about your offer and how you approach it, but you can create videos pretty quickly to come up on YouTube ads. And it's the same as the display ads. You can go really granular. You can target people who've been to your competitor's website and get in front of them as well. So these are just a mix of a few of the places that you guys can target on Google. My favorite type of Google ads is what they're calling Performance Max. This has been around now for a few years, but this is using AI. Instead of you being like, okay, I'm going to put together some YouTube ads and I'm just going to target YouTube, or I'm going to do display ads and just target display ads. Performance Max is you tell me who you're trying to target. You give me a combination of your ads and the different headlines and descriptions and pictures, videos, whatever you can give me. And it's going to place your ads everywhere across the Google ecosystem to try to get the objective you're asking it to get. Sounds confusing, but basically you would say, all right, my goal for the campaign is I want people to come to my workshop. And then the creative assets will be posters about today's workshop. And it might be a video from Kyle, and it might be a headline, want to learn about Google Ads. And I give it all the creative assets for it to go, okay, cool. This is the stuff we're going to use to get in front of people. I would then choose who do I want to target and where's the location, and it would do the rest. It would basically then pump out to Caloundra and it would go, all right, guys, there's a Google Ads workshop, come along, and it would do the work for me. So I think for us in the room, small business owners, this is what I'm going to focus on because this performs so much better than anything else that we've used. Search is still like important to do separate, but this covers search as well as all these other channels, which can make it really powerful. So we're going to build out one of these today together. We're going to build out a search campaign together. But this, I think, is one of those things that once you set up, you're like, holy smokes, this is great. Like I should have done this years ago. This can be really powerful for small business. Does anybody have any questions, by the way?
Does it let you approve the ads before they go out?
Of course. Yeah. So you create all the ads. So it's not AI creating the ads, but what it does is you tell it who you want to target and what you're trying to achieve, and it figures out where's the best place to do your ads. Where an agency like mine, traditionally before this, we would have to go, okay, we're going to do 10% display ads and 10% YouTube ads, and then we're going to do 50%, and you have to pick all the different placements and make sure, oh, this one's working well. This just takes care of it for you. So have you guys run Facebook ads before? Yeah, so it's pick your audience, put in the creatives, and then let it run. And it does most of the work for you. There's still sometimes where it's very frustrating where you're like, things just stop working, or it will suddenly change and you'll just see like the metrics just go like in a different direction. You're like, what happened? But it's for the most part pretty good, I would say. Yeah.
So with the searches where someone types in looking for real estate,
yeah,
most of this, which is like display ads and YouTube ads.
This does target search as well, but it's like a catch-all Google search campaign. So it might be like a little blend of Google search, but what it's going to try to do is think of this as like it can retarget people for you after they've searched. It can target people when they're searching as well, but you would generally do like a standalone search campaign so that you know 100% that you're coming up on search. Where with this, you're going, I don't know if it's going to come up 100% on search. I'm trusting it to figure out the best place. No worries. Welcome. Yeah. All good. Sorry. Just grab a seat. We've still got a few spots left. No, all good. I'm recording today as well. Yeah, I was like, you're not the only person. I got a call from another attendee who was like, I thought it started at 10. And I was like, oh no. So we'll see how we go. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, for Performance Max, I think it does cover search, but what I found is it's not like a heavy focus on search. So if you are wanting to make sure that you're coming up on page 1 for real estate in your area, you'd probably still want to have a search campaign. You can, like, it's all in the same account. So yeah, it should be smart enough to go, all right, I'm not going to target these searches. We'll go through it and I'll show you how.
The search campaign.
Yeah.
So let's say previously saw Martha.
Yeah.
Would good to recognize that. And then
It does. Yeah. It's really good like that. We'll go through this in more detail, but the way that the Performance Max campaigns works is it looks at everybody who's visited your website. It looks at all the kind of, you give it search themes. You'll say, okay, real estate is a search theme, or best real estate agent near me would be a search theme. Yeah. You can also go in and there's a lot of stuff actually to go through for this. So I might save it for later, but yeah, you can definitely, they work really well together. You won't be like, oh no, I'm spending all this money on this and it's targeting the same things that I'm doing with search. It tends to work pretty well together. Yeah. So the two. So we'll talk more about how to structure an account, and I cover it off, and talk about like how I would recommend we structure our campaigns together today. So normally what I would say is search campaign, and then one of these bad boys, and you should be good. You should be covering all bases. So just for Juanita, yeah, so AI, Google, really cool. That's the summary.
How are you recording this now?
Yeah, so I've got a mic here and the camera there, and I'm just recording the screen. So I'm hoping that I can merge it all up together. And then I'm using Descript. So Descript's got AI. Yeah, it's pretty helpful. It's a pretty cool tool. Yeah. I think we talked about it before, have we not? Maybe? Yeah. So now that we've talked about all the different things you can do with Google, the most important thing is how do we track it? There's a few different ways to do it, but Google strongly recommends you use Google Analytics. If you're not using Google Analytics already, I would say get it set up, have it run on your website, because what it does is it helps you in seeing what are people doing on your website, where are they coming from? So how are you acquiring your traffic? Is it through paid ads? Is it through Google search? Is it through ChatGPT? Is it from social media? And you can actually see, oh, cool. So people are coming from this source or this referral link. And it just helps you in making your marketing better because you want to know what's working. And I think the saying is what you don't measure, you can't fix. You really want to make sure that where are people coming through from? And I guess like the path that they're taking to the goal you're trying to get them to do. So for real estate agents, it might be to book in a free appraisal, fill out a form, start a live chat, call now. There's many different options. And it'd probably be the same for most of our businesses being in service, like service-based industries. We're trying to generate leads. So Google Analytics allows us to track all that. And you can set up these, what they call key events now, or we used to call them conversions, but key events that are happening on your website that would be generating business. So inquiries are always good, phone calls, people emailing, filling out contact forms. You would track all of those. And even though they're not monetary values, you should hopefully be able to look at how many people do you convert, and then what would be the average value of a client that has come through, and help work out what the value of an inquiry would be to your business. Now, this is all sounding like gobbledygook, but you're wanting to figure out what is the value of an inquiry to your business so that you can work out what the ROI is from your ads. And it doesn't need to be an exact science, but just having even some figure that can help you in looking at this is helpful for small business, because you don't want to spend, for example, $200 to land somebody on a Google ad to sharpen knives when they're spending $100 with your business. You're losing money. So you want to be able to track these things and make sure that what is the cost of getting somebody to inquire, so that you're able to then go, is this working? Is it not working? And what do I need to change and fix? So Google Analytics we'll talk a bit about. Just a show of hands, who doesn't have Google Analytics on their website? Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no worries. All right. And yeah, you do. Yeah, I installed it for you this week. That's great. Yeah, exactly. But Google Analytics is great. And it's something that Google offers a lot of things for free because they also selfishly want to be able to track all the data from your website. So it's like hey, here's a great free service. But realistically, they're taking that data, they're using it, and it gives them better insights in terms of what works for other advertisers. So there's always a trade-off. What do they say? If it's a free, then you're the product, right? So that's the same with Google. Microsoft also have a tool like this. Doesn't obviously plug into Google Ads, but it's pretty good. I think it's called Clarity. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. So anyways, we'll go through this a bit more. It seems like most people have Google Analytics, but a few might not. So we'll figure it out. That's totally fine. You don't have to have Google Analytics as well, guys. You can actually track things directly through your ads, but you need to have a tag on wherever you're sending traffic with your ad campaigns. So wherever you're sending ads, it could be an event page on Eventbrite, it could be your website, it could be a CRM landing page. You want to make sure that you've got Google tracking that page so it's able to then perform better. We'll go through that a little bit more later though. So I promised you that we talk about Google search types, and I know this is very academic, guys, so I appreciate you sticking with me so far. There's 4 kind of key groups that we look at for Google search, and I think it's important to cover off before we start building campaigns. The first type is people searching for information. So they're looking for blogs, they're looking for answers to problems that they're having. So it might be like I used the example before for Lee's business. How could I sell my house myself? And Lee might have a great article comparing working with a real estate agent versus selling the property yourself and the pros and cons of each, right? So that would be a good way of targeting informational type searches. Navigational searches are more people going Facebook login or Google Ads login or something along those lines. They're trying to go somewhere, but oftentimes they fall onto a Google search. I don't know about if you guys relate to this, but if you type in a website and you don't put in the full website, it takes you to a Google page and then you click on the link, right? So those are like the navigational searches that pop up. The reason these are really good is that a lot of people will actually target their competitors, and you'll type in the brand name, let's say it's Facebook login for this example, and Pinterest pops up with an ad on Google and it's, we're better than Facebook, but they might not say that exactly, but they have that first spot on the Google search. That's an ad for Pinterest when people are looking to log into Facebook. I don't know if that would work, but that's an example of competitor-based kind of navigational searches. Commercial and transactional are what most people use Google Ads for, right? This is what we're all interested in, is how do I get people who are looking to buy or looking to sign up for a service or they need something. They're basically going, best real estate agent near me, where can I get my knife sharpened? They're looking for massage and Noosa. All of these things are basically like commercial searches, very similar to both of these. Like transactionals, I want to buy something. Commercials, like maybe they're researching the best of whatever. So who's the best masseuse in Noosa? Are there mobile knife sharpeners near me? So these are generally very closely aligned. And the reason I put this lovely little funnel diagram on the side is that it generally is like that, where it gets like informational, very broad, navigational, and then it gets smaller and smaller. But these are really high competitive areas. Everybody wants these guys, right? Not everybody wants these because they might be looking for me, but probably not. They're just looking for an answer to a question. So these can be good, but we generally start here and work our way up. And we will start with what's going to drive more sales to my business or bring me more customers. And then how can I work my way up this funnel? As you start seeing ROI, you can broaden out your marketing. So that's with Google search, the different types of searches that can come through. And it's important because you want to know how we're going to target people on Google search and what keywords are actually the best ones to go for. So that's why we would break it up into this, because again, like I'll always set things up and people are like, I just want these. And I'm like, yeah, but you probably want to look at some other things as well. But yes, I get it. We'll start with that. No problem. So Google search, those are the different types that we would look at. So in summary, Google is great for not only like targeting everyone on the internet, because it is really powerful in terms of the broad reach. You can use Google to do a lot of research and a lot of market research to figure out what are people doing on the internet. I'm going to show you guys how we can do keyword research later on. And keyword research is basically, here's my website. Tell me what people are searching in relation to my website in this area. And it will give you as many keywords as you could possibly imagine and give you the average monthly volume of searches for those types of searches. So for real estate, it'd be like real estate in my area, real estate agent near me. And it would be like, okay, there's 10,000 people searching every month on average in Australia. And you're like, oh, cool, okay. I might try to target that. That sounds great. So it's really good for that. You can also reach people across Google through both paid and organic marketing. All the stuff that we're learning today can also be applied to SEO. So what we're learning today is like, what are people searching? How do I target them on Google search? And obviously we're doing the shortcut of going, here, Google, here's some money. Please place me at the top of the pile. But if you wanted to, you could create content that's talking about these searches, and slowly, bit by bit, you'll start ranking organically for Google searches and AI as well. So it is helpful to learn about this stuff and then go, oh, cool, okay, maybe I should start talking about these searches that have 30,000 searches on the Sunshine Coast because there's a lot of people searching for this. So it can be really helpful from an overall marketing strategy for your business. And then as well, Google's great because you're able to give people information they're looking for. They can book in a service, they can ask a question, and you can track everything with Google Analytics. So Google's great in summary. At least I might be a little bit biased. So we're going to go through a little bit about how I would structure an account. And then I promise the TED Talk's over. We're going to get into actually building stuff, but I wanted to make sure that we're covering off the theory first. So we've gone through what Google is. Now we're going to talk about the ads specifically. I think it's a good idea to just go through and talk about how we'd structure a Google account. Just to ask the room, who's tried setting up Google Ads before or run Google Ads already? I know that, yeah, Andrew, you've run some Google Ads. I'm assuming, Lee, you've run? Yeah, it's a lot, that's for sure, yeah. So the reason I ask is that a big question that we get a lot is like, how should I set things up? What different campaigns should I do? And it can be really overwhelming. I think Facebook ads, at least in my experience, a lot of my clients are a lot more comfortable running Facebook ads because they're like, I get how it works. I get that I need to post content, that I need to publish that. I need to promote it to people that I want to target. And if it's a good offer or it's like relevant to them, they're going to click and they're going to take some action. Where Google's like, where do you start? Like, it's very confusing. On Google search, there's all these different types of campaigns. So it can be really confusing. But just to go through how it's structured, you'll have a Google Ads account. You're going to have multiple campaigns in your account. And each campaign will be, I'm targeting a different area or I'm targeting a different service would be a good example. And then in there, you're going to have what we call ad groups. Now, ad groups are basically just a segment of different keywords, which are just different searches. I'm seeing a few blank looks already. Don't worry, we'll go through this a bit more. But the campaigns will essentially break it down into segments for us to go, all right, I'm going to use Ellis's business as an example. You might have a campaign that's knife sharpening near me, and he's targeting Caloundra. An ad group would be, let's target restaurants. Another ad group would be, let's target cafes. Another ad group might be, let's target tradies. And each of those would then have their own tailored keywords or searches that a cafe might search to find you. So it might be like knife sharpening for cafes, knife sharpening near me, or knife sharpening for a restaurant. And you try creating a bunch of different combinations of things that you would target. The reason you break this down is that your ads, you want to make relevant to what people are searching so that you're not saying something completely off the charts that doesn't make sense to a cafe owner or a restaurant owner. And you're talking about sharpening your lawnmower, right? Like they'd be like, huh? Are you targeting me? What are you talking about? So you want to make sure that your ads talk to the keywords because then people go, yeah, this is the right thing that I'm looking for. Otherwise, it just sounds crazy. So campaigns, ad groups, and then keywords. We're going to go through this in more depth, but that's how it's structured. You can have as many campaigns as you want. You can have as many ad groups as you want. But what we're going to do together today, guys, is we're going to have very simple one campaign. And then we're going to talk about how we can break that down a little bit further. Because I think for most small business owners, you don't need to have 10 campaigns. That's just a nightmare to manage. You just need one search campaign, keep it simple, and try to make it work. And if that can work, you can always grow and you can always add on more complexity from there. This is probably the most technical slide. Does anybody have any questions about the structure? We'll go through it a bit more, but I think it'll make sense when we jump in, guys. Like this is all too academic, I reckon. So the perfect account structure is, there is no perfect account structure. It really depends on your business. Some common ways that we structure it for an account, like for Ellis again, we would probably look at like by product or service offered or by location. So if you're targeting multiple different cities, you probably have a campaign for Brisbane, a campaign for the Sunshine Coast, just as an example, or you do it by service. So you'd be like, okay, we have one campaign for cafes and restaurants. We have another campaign that would be for tradies. We might have another one that's for culinary schools or trade schools or anything like that. So you break it down so that you have specific, like I use the tennis gear example. You'd probably have a campaign for tennis gear, and then you might even break that down further by having a campaign for tennis rackets, a campaign for tennis balls, campaign for tennis clothing. I don't know if there's that much stuff in tennis. I'm assuming there is, but you'd be able to break it down bit by bit to target on those things. So there's no wrong way to do it, but these are the best ways that we found to structure it. So for us, we do like a campaign for Facebook ads management. We do a campaign for Google ads management. We might do a campaign for web design or so on and so forth. You're keeping it based on each service so that you can see which one's working best. You can dive into it a bit further. Now, in terms of what that would look like for most people, it would look like this. The only thing is that with that AI campaign I showed you guys earlier, you'd probably combine like this and have one search campaign, and then you'd have another Performance Max campaign instead. WordStream's a really popular Google Ads management like software program. So they've got some really good resources out there. You might have a search campaign for town A, town B. You might have it for a spinning class. And then display would be like, all right, those are the banners that we're trying to target. For anyone who's been to the website, hasn't signed up, they're now seeing our banners, chase them around the internet. And that's what we call like retargeting. So again, the dresses, the pants you shop, you don't buy. Those are the ads that kind of follow you around and are like, hey, don't forget about the pants, and trying to get you to buy. And then they might also have like fitness apparel that they're selling on the side. This would be like a really big account. Like you wouldn't go this crazy. For us, I probably have a search campaign, Performance Max, and that is more than sufficient for what we need. And I think that's what we suggest. So search plus Performance Max, that's all that we're going to set up today. And when I say that's all, like this is more than enough to succeed. We have some clients who are doing just this and they're running 50K a month type of accounts. So this is fine. You don't need to go too crazy to succeed. So this is what we're going to focus on together, and we're going to see if we can get that all set up. So we're nearly done on the theory, and we want to talk about how do we run ads. There are a few things that we need in order to make sure that you can run Google Ads. The first thing is you need to send them somewhere, like a website. So I'm hoping everybody has a website. Otherwise, you might be in trouble. If you don't have a website, you can always do landing pages. You can do event pages. We've done a lot of Google Ads to Eventbrite or similar types of places. And obviously that's where you guys bought your tickets. So you know what Eventbrite is. You should, I strongly recommend setting up a Google business profile as well. I know that Alice, you have one, and I'm assuming Lee, you definitely have one. Does everybody know what Google business profile is? Okay. So it's basically a profile that you set up for your business that helps you be more visible on Google search and on Google Maps. So think of it like a Facebook page for Google. It's where people can leave Google reviews. It's where you can link up your website, your phone number, your address. And it just means if somebody searches for Social Geeks Digital on Google, I'm in control of the information that pops up, and I can add images, I can add videos if I want to, I can add products, offers, links to social media. So Facebook page is probably a good way of explaining it. Definitely recommend doing it. If you don't have one, you can set it up very easily, and you don't have to have a physical address. You can say, look, I prefer not to have my address listed, but I service Noosa, or I service Caloundra, or I service this area. And then if people search in that area for masseuse or massage near me, hopefully you'll pop up with a cool profile and your Google reviews. And it's a good thing to have. It helps with visibility for sure. And it is definitely something worth doing, just so you can have like reviews and things like that as well. I definitely recommend having Google Analytics as well, because you want to track everything on your website. You want to be able to know that your ads are working. And might be a bit silly, but you need an ad account if you want to run ads. So you do need to set one up. If you don't have one today, guys, we can go through how to set that up, no problem. And basically, you can get it up and running in 5 minutes, and then you just link up your payment details, and you're good to go. The last thing is, and it doesn't really apply too much to the room because nobody's selling products online, you can set up a merchant account. And if you sell on Shopify or WooCommerce, or you have products online, you can automatically sync this up to Google Merchant, and it pushes your products into their system. And then when people are going on Google Shopping, your products can appear there organically. So it just gives you a lot more visibility if people are shopping. This can be really great. You can do it for services as well, but it's generally if you have packages or you have, let's say, like a monthly retainer, you can set those up. But I think it's probably better more for products. So I know that I've asked a few times, but does everyone feel like they've got most of these? If not, we can go through it today. But I know that Lee, you've got ads, you've got analytics, you've got Google Business Profile. I think you have a website. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So Becca's getting reviews. That means she has
I would say so. Yeah. You don't need it to run ads. But the reason I bring that up is that with your ads, you can have your business show up on Google Maps, and you need a Google Business Profile to make that work, if that makes sense, because I'd say so. Yeah. And for her business, I think it would be awesome to get her on Google Maps, because same as Ellis, like most people, I don't know about you guys, but if I search for a plumber or an electrician, I'll jump on Google Maps a lot of the time, and I'll look for people local. So I'll generally use that as search instead of going to Google search. So it just gives you like you're casting a wider net, so to speak, rather than just Google search. So it's definitely important. And if you're getting Google reviews, you're definitely on there. All right. So we're done now in terms of the theoretical side. I hope that I can raise you guys back to life and jump into some accounts to go through things. Oh, cool. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. I always feel like sometimes the theoretical stuff, I'm like, oh, this is boring, but everyone's, let's go. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So it's good to understand like why and how it all works together before you start trying to build, right? Because it's, what's the saying? You measure twice, cut once. You want to make sure that you know what you're building before you start knocking down walls and things. Well, that, folks, concludes part 1 of our Google Ads workshop. All the theory there, walking you through how we structure campaigns and how we would set things up. In the next video, we'll be going through how to set up a Google Ads account from beginning to end. So stay tuned, that should be dropping very soon. And again, if you are interested in having a professional help in either auditing your account or even managing your Google Ads for you, you're always welcome to book in a free call, and we can go through things together. To do that, go to socialgeeks.com.au/links, and you can book in a time that suits you. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and all the best with your marketing.